Episode 9, Trance. One morning in 2020, I had the opportunity to participate in the morning chanting at Yanarangsiat Temple in Virginia, led by Fra Krusiri Tamwat Hate or Fra Kruyudam Samana. The activity began with chanting and then a 1-hour meditation session. I quickly entered a state of calm and concentration. After a while, I experienced a vision of a 12-year-old girl walking directly towards me before passing by as if she were a stranger. Suddenly, I heard a voice inside me shout, "Mother!" At that moment, I felt confident that this girl was my mother, who had passed away 2 years earlier. Since her passing, I had never dreamed of her, but in that moment, I was sure it was her. As I continued to watch, my certainty grew, even though her appearance was not how I remembered her. After emerging from meditation, I bowed to the Buddha and radiated loving kindness. I then sat and contemplated what I had seen in front of the main Buddha statue. The more I thought about it, the more my mind constructed the idea that it truly was my mother. My mind elaborated that since my mother enjoyed doing good deeds, keeping precepts, and meditating, this merit had allowed her to be reborn as a human to continue accumulating goodness. As I left the temple, while closing the door and putting on my shoes, I looked up mindfully and saw something small moving in front of the temple door. It was something I had often seen in moments of tranquility, which I previously thought was a mirage, but since I was in the shade, I focused intently and was finally able to see it clearly. It appeared as a series of floating lines resembling mystical symbols moving all around. I tried to follow it, but the lines danced restlessly, never staying still. I spent some time observing this phenomenon in front of the temple until I was confident in the appearance that had manifested, then I walked out. Before heading home, I went to pay my respects to Luangta Amnue Papaso, who had come to perform religious duties at Yanarangsiat Temple. He originally resided at Wat Sra Kashiam in Nakhon Pathom. I shared with him that I had seen in front of the temple, but no matter how I tried to explain, I couldn't make him understand. He said that when the mind enters a state of concentration, it gains more power than usual, allowing it to perceive things around it more clearly. It's like looking through a haze. If the mind is concentrated, it can see through that haze. I then asked about the vision of the girl I was certain was my deceased mother. Luangta asked if I often experienced visions during meditation, to which I replied that it was rare. He explained further about the state of trance, a transitional period between sleep and wakefulness, where the mind functions normally internally but lacks external awareness. During this time, mental images can arise. While these images can be real, what is seen may not be true. After talking for a while, I bowed and took my leave. Analyzing this, we can explain that while meditating, the mind becomes concentrated to the point of entering trance, a state in which the mind is calm and free from desire. During this period, the mind is not aware of emotions, it is still and unperturbed by all cravings, leading to a sense of lightness both in body and mind, to the extent that the meditation mantra may fade away. In this moment, a vision of a young girl appears. The perception that this girl is my deceased mother is a genuine feeling, likely arising from the attachment to the idea that she is my mother. However, both the image and the feeling are not the ultimate truth. So, what is the truth? The truth is something that most people accept as real, but it may vary depending on time and place. This is referred to as empirical truth or the natural truths observable in daily life. In Buddhism, there are 2 levels of truth. 1. Conventional truth, which refers to concepts established for communication, allowing people in society to understand one another, such as names of people, animals, and objects. And 2. Ultimate truth, which represents the highest and most certain reality, such as the impermanence of all things, known as anatta, non-self. The purpose of training and developing the mind is to gain insight into both conventional and ultimate truths. As one begins to see the truth more clearly and frequently, the mind gradually comes to accept the reality that nothing in this world is permanent. Everything is impermanent, and all things are ultimately non-self.